What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for being here. So today we're going to be editing a real estate video sent in by my good friend Andre Restrepo, who just hit 4,000 subscribers. Yeah! If you haven't subscribed to his channel already, go make sure to check it out. He does some awesome content. If you like my channel, you'll probably like his channel too. He's super creative and one of my best friends. So he is slammed with work and I'm helping him out with editing some of his real estate videos, and I figured I would bring you guys along. I know I've done videos on this in the past, but I just wanted to show you guys my process, how I go from start to finish on editing a real estate project, and give you guys some tips and tricks to help speed up your workflow along the way. So thanks for joining. Let's get into it. So for me, one of the most important things to speed up my editing process is to get the import and organization right off the bat. So what I like to do is go in, put everything into bins before I even put it into Premiere. So we've got that already done, and then basically I just like to do anything that's gonna make the actual creative editing process really smooth, really seamless, less frustrating. So I like to get all that stuff out of the way first. And if you're shooting on a high bit rate format, like 10-bit or higher, or if you're shooting in 4K, it's gonna help you a lot if you go ahead and make proxies. So to make your proxies, all you do is you go highlight all your bins and then do create proxies. And I like to do the low res proxy right here. It's low resolution, but I mean, it still looks good and you're just viewing it small anyways. And then you just click OK and it'll open up Adobe Media Encoder and just run through all those files, create all the proxies, and then it'll tell you when it's ready and you'll be ready to go. So what we're gonna do now is modify all the footage to 24 frames per second, which is just gonna slow down that slow motion footage, smooth out the 30 frames per second footage, and all that stuff quickly. So we're just gonna go in, select all, in each folder, do interpret footage, type in 23.98, because that's what 24 is technically on DSLR mirrorless cameras. So we're gonna do that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and label it a color, okay? And it can be any color, it doesn't matter at all. So I'm just gonna go through and do that for every single folder. He did a nice job getting it nice and organized before sending it to me. He even sent me music, so I don't have to spend any time looking for music. So just like that, we're done. So now I'm gonna make my sequence. So I just like to go up here, File, New Sequence, and I will just call this the address. So it's 25 Waters Lake, BLVD. Okay, so let's make sure it's 1920 by 1080. That's what it was shot in. Okay, and there we go. So now, if you go ahead and label your sequence, it's kind of nice because then when you export it, it's already gonna have your file name ready to go. So, I don't know, save you a step later. So that's it. All right, so the next thing I like to do before I even start working with any footage is I'll go ahead and get my music squared out up front, so then when I'm dealing with any footage, I'm cutting it to the music. I don't have to go back and forth a million times later. Basically, once we work all the way through the whole video, it's gonna be mostly done if you do it this way. So we've got a song from Epidemic Sound that Andre sent, and I'm just gonna drag that onto my timeline. So if you haven't used Epidemic Sound, it's really, really awesome. This video is not sponsored or anything, but I use it for all my music, on my YouTube videos, for real estate videos, for interviews. It's pretty much gonna have you covered for anything. And even like tons of sound effects and stuff that we'll use later for like water or outdoor sounds and stuff like that. It's really, really great for any type of videographers. So Andre wants this to be about 1.5 to 2 minutes. So we're gonna have to cut down this song to fit that. So here's what I do. Got it in there. Let's see how it sounds so far. Okay, usually these songs intros are like way too long for stuff like this. So I like to leave it like maybe 5 or 10 seconds and then going straight into like some upbeat kind of stuff. I mean, it's cool. It'd be good for like a wedding video or something maybe. Okay, I'm just gonna keep that part. Okay, that's the same note, so I'm just gonna chop that. Nope. Okay, hold on. Let's see. I used to be a musician, so this is second nature to me, but I know it's weird for a lot of y'all. Okay, so that's the part where it needs to hit. Okay, so I'm cutting it. Okay. I think that's gonna line up about right, so just backslash. Close. Gotta get it on the beat though. Okay, I think that'll probably work. Let's shave off like a little bit. Okay. So I use constant gained, constant power. Here we go. Okay, so we got that. Okay, I think that's gonna work. So we need it to be about here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mark that as my out point. Okay, so so a lot of times I'll just take the ending from the whole song and put it at another ending point for like the chorus type of section. Okay, so another strategy is I'm gonna take a little bit more of a segment and change the dynamics of the song completely. Okay, so I'm gonna cut it there. Okay, so I'm gonna put that towards the end. Okay, so that's the start of the progression, so I'm just delete that. Okay, so that's the same progression, so let's see if that lines up nicely, or if it's gonna be too much of a difference. We'll find out. That's not bad. Let's see. So that's like the whole progression, 4 different chords. Okay, cool. I think that'll work. Sometimes it doesn't work because like one point in the song will be like way high energy and one point will be low energy, but it's the same progression. So I don't know. You just gotta try and see what works and work with what you got. The reason I like to do this first is because then you can lock this right there. Just click that toggle lock, and then that just makes it really easy to cut your footage and not be affecting the audio through this whole process. So it's ready to go. It's the good length for the edit that we need, and now we can just only focus on the visual stuff. Typically, I like to start my videos off with a kind of teaser intro or just something really interesting to get people interested in watching the video right off the bat. So I'm not totally sure what we've got in these bins, but either I'm gonna do that or just start straight off with like a really cool shot of the front of the house, because usually I like to have, when the beat kind of comes in, either that's kind of like the big reveal of like the front of the house or going into the house, because you want people to be, you know, engaged almost like they're going in a house tour right away. And if they're into it, they're gonna sit there and watch it. If they're not into it, if it's the wrong style of house for them, then they'll just not watch it. That's just, you know, it is what it is. So let's see what we got. So let's check the exterior front. Okay. Okay, no drone shots. Okay, probably the biggest selling point of this house is the pool. So let's see. Usually this is where agents will like to put their logos and stuff. So something kind of ambiguous also works really well too. Let's see if this works. That's pretty cool. Fire is usually a pretty safe bet. Okay. Okay. So to speed up your playback, you can just switch this over to 1/4 of the resolution, and then make sure this toggle is on so that you're viewing your proxies instead of your normal files. Otherwise, it's going to be real slow, especially if it's shot on like an R6 or something new with high bit depth footage. So we'll see. That's pretty cool. I feel like that kind of works with the music. Okay. So right on the next beat, cutting it, and let's find something else. It's weird working with someone else's footage, but because when you shoot it, you kind of know what shots you're going to use for different things. That's pretty good. Yeah, I feel like the biggest selling feature of this house is probably the pool, because it's pretty nice. So sometimes I'll cut it on the music right away, or sometimes I'll just kind of throw on all the footage from a section, and then work in the cuts up to the music. So that's what I'm going to do now. So let's see, anything else that's super nice that stands out? I feel like everybody just thinks fire is cool, so it's always a good eye catcher. Okay, that's a good shot. I think we'll probably use this one on the beat. Ooh, that's cool. I'm gonna pop that down there. Besides the intro, I like to kind of keep it, you know, chronological. So like you don't want like night shot, then day shot, then night shot, then day shot, unless you're doing like some cool day to night transition. I've seen people doing that, and that's actually really neat. But I like to keep it to where it, like, you know, you want it to make sense for the viewers. So let's go ahead and see. That's a good shot. Okay, let's see where we're at, because I mean, that intros are short, so let's see how this looks right now. think that's a good starter. Exterior front. Okay. This is why it's always good to kind of overshoot. Have a little bit too many options. It's always better than not enough options for editing, if you know. Okay, if you just push the S key, it scales it to fit the frame. So that was a 4K drone shot. Mavic Air 2 is what he's got, so it was shooting in 4K, and the other video clips were 1080 on the R6. Okay, so that's too slow. Let's do 200%. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna change it. So let's do okay. 3 is a good number, so let's keep it like this. So let's do okay. So sometimes I'm on beat, sometimes I'm on a different, like a upbeat, because I know that for the intro they're gonna put their logo over like most of this section, so it's just giving a little bit of context to get people into the video and show them like, okay, here's a couple highlights, and then this front shot is where it really starts. So I'm gonna go ahead and change that color to violet so that I can just tell later that that's the intro. So now we're just gonna start working through the whole house, sequences, basically just gonna do entryway, kitchen, living room, primary, additional rooms. I'm not sure what all is gonna be in this one, like if there's a game room or media room and stuff like that. And then my fans going crazy with this 10-bit footage. But then we're just gonna work our way back through and have the exterior at the end. And then that's gonna be pretty much it. It's gonna be over, a minute and a half. So let's go. So really, we're gonna go through all these different bins of different rooms and use a couple of clips per section and make a little sequence. And we're gonna work our way all through the bins and then back to the back exterior, and then probably have a front exterior shot as a finisher. And that's it. So just go click my in point with the letter I and then out point with the letter O. And that's what I want for the video. And then we're gonna go, we got a doorway shot, always good. Okay, and then that's gonna be the last one of the exterior. Oh, that's a good one. That'd be a good finisher. Classic, classic, classic. Always just going away from the house slowly. Nice warm shot. Okay. I would normally have more details of like the address sign, maybe the light fixture, or like the number of the house. So, but that's what we got. Okay, so now let's go to entryway. So this is a virtual tour basically. So we're just gonna go in point, out point. Nice, good shot, Andre. Okay, cut it. These are a little slow. Sometimes you don't really need to slow them down, so I might speed these up in a little bit. Yeah, that's always one of my favorite shots for the entryway, just going up a little bit. It just makes it feel like kind of like a big deal, like, whoa, you're looking into the house and it's exciting. Okay, so let's show that. feel like I've shot this house before. This floor plan looks really familiar. So we got living room, and now we're going to go ahead and see which one's a good shot, just kind of going straight into it. That's pretty good. Let's see. Okay, nice. So we're just gonna pop that onto there. Keep in mind, this is a pretty short video, so we gotta pick the best shots, and that's it. Okay, that might be better reversed, actually. Okay, hold on. Let's change that to 150% speed. Okay, so swap that. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to reverse a lot. Using proxies, reversing things, and changing the speed, it works a lot smoother than just doing it normal, because pretty much right away, if you start reversing things, you're not going to get very good playback on Premiere, because Premiere kind of sucks, but it's what I know. Okay, so let's speed that up too. The reason I reverse that is because it's going to lead into the kitchen, so it's kind of panning to the kitchen. So, all right, let's see. We might add in a little detail. They're big on staging, so let's see. Sneak that in there, maybe 200%. Yeah, let's see if that works. Speed that one up. Okay, cool. So that pretty much sums up the room. There's other shots, but I got random homeowner in this shot. People always walk into your frames because they don't know where you are when you're hidden in the corner. All right, so kitchen next. Sorry, these are so tiny. You probably can't see anything. Okay, this one kind of works with the camera movement, so let's go with this one. Put that in there. Okay, if you're using wide shots, I like to leave them hanging just a little bit longer, just because it's more information for people to absorb when they're watching it. So give them a couple seconds to soak it in and see what's in the picture. All right, so we got that view of the kitchen going in, and now we're gonna show the look back shot. Okay, nice. Nice shot, Andre. I think the R6 with the image stabilization built in is helping smooth out these gimbal shots a little bit, because they all look like really perfect. And usually, no matter how good your Ninja Walk is, there's still a little bit of bumpiness, so pretty cool. Okay, so let's get some detail shots in there. I feel bad not using all the shots, but you know, you got to keep it short. Nice fire shot. Little tip for these types of shots is if you turn off the oven light, it makes the fire stand out a little bit more, because it's in a little bit of a darker setting. So if you have the oven light on right above it, you're not going to be able to see the fire. Okay, so yeah, that's a quick shot. Delete. Again, I mean, we're just kind of working through the highlights of the house. We can't really show everything in these types of edits. Okay, they'll probably want to put something about this island, so I'm going to put this in here, but as kind of a finisher for the kitchen, I'm going to put it in reverse. So let's go reverse, and let's put it at 150. Nope, too fast. 100, 110. Okay. Got to show the little dining room area. Okay, boom. That's it. Pretty self-explanatory. You don't need to show that detail too long. Probably need to show these double ovens. Let's see if we can fit that in there. Yeah, let's put that instead. That's a better shot. 150. See how it works. That's too fast, so 100. So, all right, so kitchen, here's what we got. Give it a little bit longer on that wide shot. It's a little bit too fast. All right. Okay. And the reason I put that bedroom right after the kitchen is because guess what? That is what everybody who is buying a house wants to see right away, because that's where they're going to be sleeping. Okay. Okay, that was a good one. Normally I do a looking back shot just to have a little bit more context for the viewers. So let's see if that works. Okay, let's see what we got. So we got a view of the pool. Nice. Okay, they're not going to like that. I know this client. Okay, so let's do that one. Sheesh. There we go. We got no pool cleaner. Yay. Nice. Good save. Good save. Okay, so I'm just using the slash key, backslash, and that clips it together. Okay. Delete. Pop this in there. Okay, save it. All right, now let's do the bathroom. These are hard. He had to duck under the mirror. I bet he's in the shot later. Yep, there he is. There is little Andre in the corner. There he is starting the shot. He goes, oh crap, I'm in the mirror. Gotta duck. So that's pretty much the only way to work around it. Okay, that's the shot. For these little sequences, I like to look at it and kind of wonder what the viewer is going to be wanting to see next, and then that's what I put there. So since you can't really see the sink very well, he got a shot of the sink. Looks great. 50 millimeter. If any of you guys are interested in what lenses, he's got 50 millimeter and 16 to 35. Just the f4 actually. So I guess that actually is probably part of the culprit for the smoothness of these shots. If you've got the image stabilization built into your camera and built into your lens, this is how smooth your shots are gonna look. Pretty stinking good. And because the R6 has really low noise, you can get away with the f4 really nicely. These all look really clean. Okay, let's see if this shot looks good. Let's see. All right. Okay, and the reason I added this pool shot here is just to keep the viewers reminded that there's a pool coming up later in the video. You can put little Easter eggs or teasers or something, I don't know what to call it, but throughout the video to keep people engaged. Okay, cut it. Let's put these down on the timeline. Nope, not good transition. So I'm gonna put this Okay, water's on. You can't reverse it if the water's on. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna go to shower first and then bath because visually it was just moving you around too much. Okay, nice, delete. Nice. So it's gonna be going from like close up to pulling away, revealing the whole bathtub and showing that you've got all that space and the window and everything. Okay. We don't have a lot of time left, so we might actually have to cut out some of these shots, even though we're already being pretty stinking minimal. All right, living room, already did that. So game room. Game room is huge important because people with kids are all like, yes, I will buy it immediately because of a game room. Okay. Okay, so it's got a little mini bar. That's pretty important. That's like an upgrade. Nice little parallax shot going on there. Let's cut that on the beat. Let's see if we can show. We got a looking back shot. All right, that's fine. So now I think we've got a media room. Yep, upstairs. So that's going to transition into that. Show that it's connected off the game room. So I'm just clicking I and then O for my out point, and we'll see where that puts us. All right. So little tip to make those media shots a little bit more interesting is if you put on a video playing. So that could be like a kid's movie that's super colorful or something like that is always great. But these ones look good. It had nice lighting in there, so not totally necessary. All right. This is a pretty nice media room, so I'm going to show it a little bit longer. Okay, speed it up. All right, so we're going to go back down to the study, show some more really important stuff. Kind of a transition shot going back down. And we're going to reverse it so that it's going from upstairs to downstairs. Okay, so now we're going to go to the study. Because it's nice with the built-ins and stuff. Yeah, I like this one better. Okay, that's fine. All right, because we don't have much time, that's all I'm going to show of it. Dining room. I thought we already did the dining room, but there's a whole nother one. Nice house. Okay. Okay, so instead of that, I'm going to show the dining room first. Usually I do the dining room after the kitchen, but because this is in its own little section of the house, it kind of makes sense to do it this way. Let's do 120, speed it up. Okay. Let's pick a shot. If y'all can hear the dog, I got it sleeping behind me. Let's start this one back further. Yeah, there we go. Get some foreground. So that's the only downside about the F4 for video, is that you do get a little bit less of like the blurry foreground, cool little cinematic elements, but it still looks really solid. I mean, for this stuff, it's mostly about getting information across, and so F4, it's good. Not bad. Yeah, we're running out of space. That's okay. I can just make it a little bit longer. I'm not going to put all these secondary rooms in there because there's like 4 rooms. So that's going to be like 30 seconds of footage just looking at a bunch of empty rooms. So nothing you can't see on the pictures or on the listing already. So we're just keeping all the best stuff in there. So usually a good transition to the backyard will be like a drone shot. So we've got this one right here. Yeah, that's a good one. So it just kind of goes, okay, quick little drone shot, boom. All right, so we got this transition kind of looking up at the office. Okay. Okay, once again, push the S to scale it. Okay, there's a kid in the next door yard, so I gotta cut it a little bit earlier so that they don't show a random kid playing volleyball. Great timing, neighbor boy. They probably knew there was a drone and decided to go play just because of that. They wanted to be in the video. Photo bombers. Always funny. All right. Okay, that's way too slow. 200%. 60 frames per second is what I usually do for exteriors, but it's mostly just so you can have the option of going really slow if you want to, or like speed ramping or something if it works. But for a lot of shots, it's just like really, really slow. Okay. Nice shots, dude. Andre, good job, man. And this R6 footage is like, it looks like how I wish my EOS R footage looked. Got a nice little hot tub shot. Let's put that in front. So we're gonna have a nice wide shot. That's fine. All right, let's go with the other fire shot. So we got this one. Let's go fire. And then we're just gonna put the finisher shot. It's just gonna be that one from earlier. Let's see, where is it? This one, I think. Yeah, so I always like to end these on one going from the house to just further away from the house. And that will probably fit. Sheesh. Okay, it was really slow. So S for scale. All right, let's speed that up. I think it was shot in a slower frame rate. All right. Let's do 200. I think he shot it at 60 frames per second. Okay, so then right there is where the agent logo will probably be. Okay. So let's change our out point to right there. So we got it at 1 minute and 32 seconds. So look, now here's our nicely color-coded timeline. Everything is cut to the music, and now we just gotta go through, add some sound effects, add some color correction, and export it. That's it. Now we are gonna go through and add some sound effects to the parts with like water, outdoor sounds, and stuff like that. Nothing too complicated, but it does make the video just a bit more immersive. So I already have a bin ready of sounds like this, but they are all from Epidemic Sound. So I've got water running, I've got fire crackling, and I've got outdoor like birds chirping and crickets cricketing. So I've got whoosh to hit. So I'm gonna add that for some transitions. Forest birds chirp, meadow crickets. That might not work. Okay, water pouring. That's great for sinks and stuff, or kitchen features. Wood crackling. That'd be great. Even though this is a gas fire, it just makes it feel like you're next to a fire when you're watching it. So always nice to have. So let me just lock this again. So I like to do this before color grading, just because once you start color grading, your playback and everything just starts to get a little bit more choppy and slow down and stuff like that. So might as well just knock everything out before the effects are on there. So these are from Epidemic Sound, and once again, this video is not sponsored or anything, but if you do want to go try it out, I have a link in description for a free 30-day trial. I actually just realized the other day when I was doing my taxes that I had been overpaying the monthly fees instead of paying it yearly, and I basically paid double over a course of a year. So not doing that again, but still totally worth it, even though it was like $300 or $400 more per year. The music's great, the sound effects are great, and the licensing is super simple and covers everything. So we're just going through and finding where do we have fire in these clips, and I'm just putting that on there, deleting it. Okay, there's that last one. And I like to just go ahead and I'll put these at -10. Typically it's a good volume. Might boost it on this intro. Okay, that's fine. I like to go ahead and add exponential fade on there, so that just cleans up the transition. It's not going to click or pop or anything. Okay, I'm going to boost this one actually. It seemed kind of quiet. Okay, that's good. Let's boost that one. You can't hear it at all. You can't hear it because the music's really loud. Yeah, we're good. So mostly it just kind of adds a little bit of a feeling to the shot. Okay. So let's go back to sound effects. So we want to add in this meadow crickets. Okay, so these are going to be our outdoor effects, and we got birds chirping. So those are my favorite ones. They just kind of give it that nostalgic, outdoorsy feel. Okay, I need to go out and record some of my own. I think that'd be nice. Have some custom ones. So these ones I do like to keep really low. I put them at -12. So okay, so I'm going to start it at this front shot. Okay, another front shot. And then I'm going to go ahead and all the way through to that part. And then I'm just going to scoot these to the outro and add my little effects into there, constant gain. Sometimes you can just kind of drag it out to where it kind of slowly fades away, and when you're watching it, you don't even really notice. Yeah, that's a little bit loud. -5. Sometimes if they cut through the music a little bit too much, I'll add this low pass filter, and that kind of just takes out some of the frequencies and makes it softer sounding. Okay, so that's good. So it's still there, but it is not as prominent, which is good. All right. So you can barely hear it, which is fine. Ooh, gotta get that flame back in there on that one. All right, yeah. So we're gonna add a loud flame. Let's put that at 4. Okay. Depending on where the timing of the bird chirping is, I'll move it around a little bit, but it's not really like that crucial, but it just adds a little bit of a feeling, a little bit more of an immersive video experience, like you're there, and that's it. So now I'm gonna add the water pouring also. Yeah, so that one's pretty basic. Most people don't do this because it takes some extra time, but it's gonna make your videos stand out. So, you know, just a couple minutes of extra editing, or even better, if you have an editor, they have time to do it probably, because they're not rushing around going to shoot. It sounds funny by itself. All right, let's cut that down. That's too loud. Not in the front. All right, that's it. Okay, and then might as well, since we're already doing this, I'm gonna add my whoosh to hit. This one's one of my favorite ones for transitions. Just really put some emphasis on that beat. So you just gotta line it up nicely. It's kind of hard. Let's do -8. Don't want it to be too loud. Yeah, that'll get your attention if you're watching it. For these, you're really just trying to get it converted from log to kind of Rec 709 look. Really natural, not gonna be changing colors to look unnatural or anything like that. So here's what I do. So I actually just made this effects pack. Oh, it's not even on my computer. I'm on the wrong computer. So hold on, let me import it. Effects, import presets, and YouTube preset packs, video LUTs. Okay, I didn't plan this. So this is all you do. If you buy my presets, boom, there they are. Now they are in. So basically I just have presets for interiors, exteriors, drone stuff, sound effects if you're doing like a video walkthrough tour, different weather conditions, stuff like that. So you still have to work with them a little bit, so you need to know what you're doing, but they are at least a helpful start. So I got my scopes up and the preset has been applied. So there's before, and there's after. This one's not going to be anything too crazy just because it's, you know, dark. I know that a dark one's going to be good for this because they're just going to put their logo over it. But all right. So we need to grade this one. So let's see which one might look good on my preview. Exterior, nice weather maybe. Boom. So these are coming out a lot more high contrast than they do on my camera. So I've just got to tweak them a little bit. Okay. Always look at your scopes over here and see if things are getting blown out in either the highlights or the shadows. So that looks pretty good. I got that sky detail, it's not too crazy. All right. All right, cool. So there's before and after. Looks pretty solid. Let's add this to the similar lighting condition shots already. This is another reason that the color coding really helps because you can just go over and see that looks really good. All right. Nice. Bump it up a little bit. It's okay to have the night shots a little bit deeper because otherwise it'll be weird if you have a bright night shot. If it's too bright. All right. So yeah, before and after. That looks good. It's colorful. You got some color contrast. Okay, so let's keep going. Pretty much the same. That looks good. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and while I'm here, 120, let's zoom in and get that pool cleaning stuff out of the picture. Okay, so now we're back to this type of shot and it looks pretty nice. Really nice clean dynamic range on the R6, gotta say. Okay, so we're just doing our best to keep it pretty quick and consistent from shot to shot. All right, I think that's fine. It looks like a sunset, it's warm. It's not like the best, but it's just kind of like intense lighting conditions. There we go, that's pretty good. Pretty close. Let's bump up the exposure a little bit. Get some of that green out of there. Okay. When the grass reflects, it turns everything green. Man, yeah, these shots are much nicer than the drone shots. So once you get that going, you can just copy it over, fix your exposure. Some shots need more contrast, some shots need less contrast. Just depends on the lighting and everything. All right, so yeah, we'll copy that back over. So yeah, it's basically a game of copying and tweaking, and then we'll be good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy that over to the other exteriors. Actually, I guess we're done. So this one looks really good on this drone shot. Warm landscape exterior. Nice. We got a lot better lighting conditions on this side of the house for the drone shots, so that's why they look better. Andre says, This was not planned, but here's the text I just got. He's editing another video. That's funny. Good timing. So basically, you can just copy them over. And let's see, I've got a good interior one. So you can kind of preview how it's going to look over here. This camera's got a lot different contrast than my EOS R, which is what a lot of these are based off of. So you got to change it a little bit, but basically we look at our scope and make sure things are not super overblown, not super bright. We just want it to look natural and neutral. That's what I always say. So one thing about shoots like this is it kind of is what it is, you know, unless the house has just perfect lighting, perfect interior lighting. For real estate videos, you're just working with what's there and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. All right, so we have tweaked it to this house's lighting conditions. That looks good to me. Okay, paste it there, it looks good. Okay. Okay, looks pretty good. And the reason I'm having to tweak these for every shot just a little bit is because you have different light coming into every single shot. So you've got outdoor light, which is blue. You've got indoor lights, which are typically kind of warm yellowish. And then you've got tints coming in from like shots with grass outside the window, greens coming in, or a neighbor's house or whatever. There could be no light. If you got good natural windows, that helps. So like these rooms look pretty close to daylight, so that's why these are just super easy. Okay, so this is my LUT interior modern classic, what do I call it? Modern clean colors. Looks good for this house. These shoots are usually pretty quick, so it's hard to get your balance perfectly dialed in camera, so that's another reason for the tweaking. But it's looking nice. I think the R6 is definitely a nice camera for real estate videos based on this trial. These aren't even 4K, so I would imagine the 4K would be even better. All right, so that's blown out, so we might as well keep it blown out. Sometimes you just gotta choose window, view, or interior. Sometimes it's important, sometimes it's not important. And the way that these were shot, you gotta keep those interiors looking nice. Don't wanna waste a shot. Okay. Okay, nice. That looks good. Nice, nice, nice. And if you don't know, shooting in log gives you a lot more dynamic range than shooting in color profiles. So highly recommend shooting in log because you get more dynamic range, you get better color range. It's just a good call. See how easy these are? Okay, that looks great. That looks great. And these LUTs, they should work pretty well with Sony cameras too, like the FX3 that I used. I tested them out on there on some of my footage, and they worked really nicely. Because they're not doing anything crazy like changing your colors and stuff. They're mostly just getting you from log to a contrasty, natural looking image. So, okay, I'm gonna copy this one again from this one to this room because it's a pretty unique room. Ooh. All right, we're back to another room. So as you can tell by my fan, it's kind of overworking itself, and that is why I like to do the color grading last, because I think it just puts a lot of strain on your computer. Effects, color grading, sound effects, music, changing speeds, changing if something's playing normally or in reverse. It all slows down your computer. So this is the fastest method for me. Okay. So if you don't need the views to show up in your footage, like if that's not really an important selling feature, midday is great because you get the most light evenly throughout the house. But if the views are really important, you can shoot closer to dusk time to where the amount of dynamic range from the inside to the outside is less extreme. So you can get those views in there because they're important. If they're, okay, so that's it. So these all look good. It's a little dark. Okay. Oh, wow. That was a little bit too blown out, I think. There we go. Brought back some details. So I'm going to zoom that in just a little bit. So I'm going to try to get that fire into the third instead of in the middle. So we've got two flames, we got the palm trees, we got a little bit of the house for context. Ooh, let's slow that down. Too fast of a jump. Having the atmospheric stuff also helps when the music kind of abruptly cuts out like that, because then, yeah, you still got that playing. Nice. Okay, so a couple quick little effects. I'm going to add film dissolve. Okay, so I like to put that at the end. It goes to black. Compared to fade to black, it just looks a little more natural. And then this one little tip I like to put at the start of the videos. Black is a little bit too extreme on there, and sometimes people put that as the keyframe for their posts about the video. So I like to go and just manually do the opacity. I go in a couple seconds, put it at 100%, and then I click here, and I'll change that to just 80%. So let's say somebody's posting this on Instagram or Facebook. Now instead of just a flame, it's going to go from like a darker picture to like a brighter image. So that kind of just another little trick to catch people's attention if they're scrolling on social media. All right, so we have it done. That's it. Here's my export settings. File, export, media. You could do the shortcuts, but I don't remember everything. So H.264, we're going to YouTube 2160 4K Ultra Extra Crazy. Render at max depth. I like to do 60. Okay. It just gets a little bit more of that information in there. Looks a little cleaner. I have this export LUT from Adobe. Premiere is made to export for broadcast colors or something, and this corrects it for like QuickTime, YouTube, Facebook, stuff like that. So it looks a little bit extra dark here, but this is how you get your colors to look how they look while you're editing. Otherwise, it comes out a little weird from Premiere. Okay, max quality, and we've already got the name right there. So we're gonna go into our folder and we're gonna go into renders and put it there. And then that's it. So one little quick tip, if you are doing like a full edit and a social media size edit, like 30 seconds or something, you can actually click Q and that will bounce it over to Adobe Media Encoder, same program that does the proxies, and you can actually export them all at the same time. So like I used this on a project recently where I did 10 videos, and you can export all of them at the same time instead of sitting there waiting for one to finish, then exporting the next one, then exporting the next one. And you can actually do that and then still edit on Premiere while it's exporting stuff. So I just have one for this one right now, but basically, see, it just pops up. It's already got your settings in there and stuff, and then you just click this play button, and there it goes. If you had like 10, it'll just go one all the way through, next one all the way through, next one all the way through, next one all the way through, and so forth. So while this is exporting, let me know if you guys have any questions about this stuff. When I edit this, I'm gonna try to leave in as much detail as possible, so it might be a really long video. But I figured that is probably more valuable if you have never done this before, just to see someone's whole process, not just like the abridged version where you miss out on a lot of things along the way. Okay, it's done. Here we go. Ooh, birds flying by. Nice. Didn't notice that in the little tiny screen. That's it. All right. Just sent it off to Andre. We're done with the project, and now we can all move on with our lives. If you're still here, thanks so much for watching the video. I hope that that means that you got something out of it, learned something new, and hopefully the long format of this editing video was not too boring. I know if it's something you're really interested in and trying to learn, hopefully it is just like a course, basically. So hope it helps you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what questions you guys have, and don't forget to check out the LUTs, the links to Epidemic Sound if you need music for your videos, and subscribe to the channel, send it to a friend, because you guys are awesome. Anyways, that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.